Hey guys, welcome back to Tigara Gitana. My name is Abby, and today we're going to be doing our weekly sacral sexual tarot pull for the week of August 6th to the 13th. So, oh God, how was last week for you guys? Because last week was a little bit, it was something. I will say this week we have like we have a partial solar eclipse in Leo this Saturday. The moon is also going to be in Cancer. Currently is in Gemini. So we should be doing a lot of mental stuff. Especially because last week we started the reading with the Ace of Swords, and then we also ended it with the Ace of Swords. So lots of mental activity occurring for us last week, but also starting, I feel like, this week, because the moon is a Gemini. Anytime the moon is a Gemini, it really triggers kind of almost an overuse of the minds, which is, you know, not always the funnest, but it's still like something that's necessary. Sometimes we need to pull back and revisit what it is that what it is that we need to like get grounded on, what it is that we need to focus, like reel back in, what it is that we need to decide so that we can move forward. So I just pulled out a bunch of cards. The bottom of the deck is a 10 of Wands and the 5 of Wands. So let's see what we have. The first two cards out are the Knight of Pentacles and the 4 of Pentacles. Then we have the 8 of Cups and then the 7 of Cups in reverse. Then we have the 7 of Swords, the Magician, and the Queen of Cups. So Magician is Mercury. So we did talk about thoughts. We did start that off that way. So for this week, we're really kind of coming to terms with something that we were stubborn about, that we didn't hold on to, and we just kind of walked away from. That was actually something that was good for us. We are having to revisit it now, and instead of like it being like fuzzy, whether it was something that it was meant for us or something that was good for us, something that it should have been ours, we're clear on it. This was something that we kind of threw away, and now we're having to come to terms with our actions from it. So our behavior, how we reacted, how we addressed it, how we left from it, how we moved from it. That's what the 7 of Swords is saying. You thinking that you were slick before, being stubborn and unchangeable, really now has put you in a position where you're having to readdress your mind, but also your feelings. Because now, and I'm not surprised, this is the Queen of Cups in this deck is Cancer. We're gonna be in a Cancer moon after the Gemini moon passes, and then we're going into the eclipse. So I'm not surprised that this is coming up. So it's really about getting our emotions and our thoughts together, like using these two moons right now to get our mind together and then get our emotions together before we can kind of turn this around and manifest from a clear place where we're like, okay, I thought about it, it kind of messed up, I should have known better, whether this is a job opportunity or relationship, whatever the case may be. I should have known better, I didn't address it properly, and now I decided mentally you know, I'm not going to do that to myself again. So that's been addressed. Your mind has been addressed. And emotionally, you either will come to peace with it, or you'll emotionally be kind of swimming in your regret for a hot minute before you can just clear yourself from that. The Magician is also asking us to manifest from this emotional energy so that we can heal ourselves. The Queen of Cups knows how to heal herself. She is very aware, but she's also can get caught up in the ocean of emotion. Ocean of emotion. It's hilarious. And so she get caught up in that and just continue to kind of either float or drown herself in it. And instead what we should be doing is that since we've had this emotional, this grounding realization of what we did wrong, how we messed up, we should then manifest from that place, whether it's revisiting that place, that job, that opportunity, that same person, because right now we're in a lot of retrogrades. So what's happening right now is that a lot of people are kind of having to go back and see all of the things that they missed out on because they didn't take advantage of the opportunity that they had. And so now everybody's kind of like in this place of like, ah, man. And so it sucks because this is like, it is an earth sign's nature to be a little bit stubborn, to like hold on to opinions and thoughts, to plans, to standards that we and rules that we have set for ourselves. But then it becomes toxic when we think we're doing the right thing and it turns up to be the complete opposite. It turns up to be like, hey, actually, this was actually something that was good for you and you just threw it away. So we've been healing a lot of things lately, and the way this kind of ends up getting trapped in our sacral space is that you kind of set rules for your sacral space. It's like, instead of it being fluid, you put rules on what you're attracted to, what kind of person you want to the T. Like, there's people who literally write down exactly what the person wants to look like, and all that stuff, and then they'll meet someone that has the emotional components, the qualities, the personality of it, but won't look like the thing that you wrote down. And it's almost like a little bit like being a little bit disappointed sometimes. And I see that sometimes because it's easy to get trapped in the mentality of, well, why can't I just get what I want and stuff? But at the same time, sometimes there's things that you need to get before you get what you want. And sometimes what you want, what you think you want, is actually what that person's giving you. And it's gonna take you a minute to realize that. But until you actually take advantage of the situation and actually say, okay, let me just look at this, because obviously there's a connection here, but you're just being super picky. You're just stuck in your own mentality of expectations. Then we're blocking ourselves, and then we're blocking our sacral space because we're not allowing ourselves to flow naturally. And that just becomes not only a mental toxicity because we have these rules that we implemented on ourselves, but it becomes an emotional one, and then a grounding one. Because then our root chakra gets wounded as well, because we're stuck in this earth that's nothing's gonna grow from, these ideas, these opinions that nothing's gonna grow from. And then we want to be like, well, that's what it is, that's what I set, but that's not always what's good for us at the same time. Like, we need to be open. There's something, especially when, as spiritual beings, we need to be open. We need to remain open. Being closed off doesn't do well for when blessings and opportunities are trying to come in, because not every opportunity and blessing is going to look like a $10 million check getting knocked at your door, you know? It's not always going to look like that. Sometimes it's going to be, blessings will come in disguises, and those blessings are really what you can end up regretting later if you don't take advantage of it the first time. The next cards that came out were the King of Cups. Not surprised. I mean, we talked. I feel like this Cancer moon is gonna be a little crazy. 10 of Cups, 10 of Swords, 6 of Pentacles. Definitely not surprised about that. Again, like literally what I just said. There are times where our expectations of love, for example, are not even, like, they don't align with our mind. Like, our mind does not align with our emotional state, because we've put rules on our mind to not enjoy what we're given with this 10 of Pentacles. And so it manifests that way. And then you're asked to seek balance, and you're asked to go back and realign with yourself. Then you're asked to go back and see why you're not getting what you want, why are you putting rules on, so many rules on what you want. Why don't you remain open to receive what you want in whatever way it may come? So many 10s. Woo, 10 of Wands. And so then it becomes a struggle. It becomes kind of forcing it, really. Forcing our experiences, forcing our mind to kind of just, you know, ride with the punches of what we've already decided, even though we know that it's not a good thing. Our outcome is the 2 of Cups and the Empress, and I'm not surprised about this. This eclipse is going to be a lot of fun. Bottom of the deck is the Devil and the Page of Swords. I'm also not surprised about that, because we are asked to kind of revisit what we're grounded in. But when it comes to, because we have so many 10s, so completion, yes, but also what is it that we want to complete exactly? Because again, when you have all these 10s, that's a lot. That's a lot of 10s. Hold on. That's a lot of 10s. And only one of these 10s can be seen as like a great 10s, you know, like a great 10. It's, even though the 10 of Wands technically is a great 10, but a lot of people won't see it that way. Cardinal signs will see it as, yeah, we're pushing through, we're gonna go get what we want, all that stuff. But some signs will be like, why can't I just get what I want? That's what people sound like to me. The 2 of Cups with the Empress really just it speaks on balance. It speaks on being at flow with nature, at that relationship that we have with letting things grow when they're growing. If you have lands, talk about Empress vibes, if you have a plot of land and you plant seeds in a certain part of that land, but then you notice in the other part of the land there was already stuff that was growing there, and it happened to be something that nobody's been selling, or it's just kind of like a rare, and so you started selling that thing. Instead of going into it and be like, well, I don't know what this plant is, so I'm just gonna take it away and plant what I want to plant. Sometimes you have to plant your old seeds, and sometimes you have to also wait for what's being planted for you, universally speaking, because the universe also have its own, like, it has its own master plan as well. And so sometimes your plant will align with the universe's plan, and sometimes the universe is like, nah, but you don't need that right now. You really need to look at this blessing that I'm sending you. There's a reason why I'm sending it to you right now, and not like later after I give you what it is that you want right now. That's not why I'm doing it. There's a reason. Pay attention. Like, why are things happening to you now? Why are thoughts happening to you now? If you've been having a lot of dreams lately, which I'm not surprised about, Neptune's been playing lots of games. You really need to pay attention to why, because your subconscious dreams right now are very clear, and I've been having a lot of dreams lately as well, but they're very clear. They're very much on the money of things that are coming up subconsciously that it's not like, oh my god, I had this weird dream, I wonder what it was about. It's mostly like I'm having the illest, clearest dreams, and I really need to just kind of sit with it, kind of mentally kind of process it, because Neptune, again, it's giving me the opportunity to do so right now. These retrogrades are doing the most, but this is a necessary process. We need to balance out our minds and our hearts. We need to balance that out, because then if we don't, it blocks the rest of our areas. It blocks the rest of our space. We get stuck. We don't manifest properly. We don't see our blessings properly. We just get stuck in the feeling of it, and then we're just like drowning ourselves. And so during this Gemini moon and this Cancer moon specifically, really get your thoughts down on what it is. Get clear on it. I mean, the Gemini energy will fluctuate on, it'll fluctuate a little bit on, like, one day you're gonna be like, okay, I'm clear, this is what I want and stuff, and the other day is like, oh, I don't know, but what if this is I mean, I feel it definitely. I have a Gemini moon naturally, so I do this on a regular basis, but right now specifically the energy is like, hey, Mercury's like, hey, listen, I need you to get your mind straight, because this eclipse is coming and I really need you to get clear on it so we know where we're moving. I also need to know I need your input, but I'm also sending stuff your way, but I need your input. I need you to be clear on yourself before we can move forward later. So just be clear on it, and then it's like, okay, now that your mind is clear, we're moving into this Cancer moon right before the eclipse. I need you to get your emotions together. I need you to be like, hey, okay, you know what, this is where I messed up. This is how I'm feeling. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I really missed out on this opportunity. I feel like I should have taken it. I feel like I missed out on this person. I feel very strongly connected to them, and I don't know why. Like, I was just not in the right place, but I still should have just taken it at the time. There's a lot of like regret going on, and it just has to do with stubbornness. So this time around, we need to work with our emotions, work with our mind, instead of just being stubborn. So then that way we're like in a good place when this eclipse comes around, and then we're like, it's like the sunlight is on, and we have all of this this kind of push to just let every single part of ourselves just be lit, literally lit. Partial solar eclipse in Leo, sun energy on blast. Like this weekend, if it ain't gonna be lit, I don't even know. If it ain't gonna be lit, I don't know what it's gonna be. That's just the fact of it. It's super important to work with this energy. Allow yourself now to work with this energy. So when this moon comes in, you're not like, because it's kind of, listen, it's hard when if you go into the eclipse like fluctuating between the lower vibrational energies, the darker sides and the shadow side of both Gemini energy, Cancer energy, and Leo energy, you're gonna find yourself egotistically wounded. Like your ego will be wounded because you're moving from such a darker place, and it's not clear. You're not clear on the direction. You're not clear on your emotions. You're not clear on your minds. You're not clear on anything. Like you're just not. You're not anywhere. And so we cannot allow ourselves to kind of get stuck. Now that's not necessary. We just can't do that right now. Our Zodiac Oracle card pull that I pulled up was, the first card is Scorpio. I'm not surprised about this. I've been saying this for a couple of months now. Scorpio season, if you do not, I'm going to repeat it again because I sound like a goddamn broken record. If you do not take this time to transform and heal those areas which you know are there and calling you, and really like, hey, you really need to fix this. Hey, your subconscious, you're dreaming about it, you're thinking about it, you're seeing it in places, you're getting all the signs, you literally, it's there. If you do not take the time now to do so, specifically now, or even through Virgo season, make that a focus. Make healing a focus, because that's what Virgo rules anyway, healing. If you do not make healing a focus, if you do not make growing and just addressing yourself and going back a focus, Scorpio season is going to be very, very heavy for you. And I say this because transformation will be forced upon you, and also anything that's not genuine will also be ripped from you. Scorpio season can either be very lit, as in, you know, sexually is very lit. It's a very, they rule the sacral chakra. They rule the sacral space. So it could either be very lit, or the energy itself will force you to transform, and it's not always cute. Scorpio season is always a very like dark time because people don't know how to handle the energy most of the time. Like if you're not a Scorpio, you can't handle it. And even if you are a Scorpio, sometimes you could feel how like everything is like people dropping like flies, opportunities are just like stuff that you don't need in your life just gets taken away like this. Like it's just like, listen, I need the truth to come out. I need you to address this truth of yourself. I need you to seek that understanding. I need you to focus. I need you to have a rebirth, because this old you, what you've been doing, it's not working for you. It's just not. It's not healthy. It's not doing it. I need you to change that. And that's what this is going to demand. So we really need to get all this shit together before we get to Scorpio season, or we're going to have a horrible Scorpio season. And instead of having amazing bomb sex, we're going to be having like really, really bad times. And I'm not trying to scare people off Scorpio season, but at the same time, like energetically speaking, especially if you're a water sign, Scorpio drags you to the bottom of the ocean. Like Pisces will have you swimming and you'll be dreaming a lot. Cancer will have you moody and all these things, but Scorpio will be like, cool, we're going down, like all the way to the damn depth of of where everything's black, you can't see anything, and we need to bring some light in here. Or I'm just gonna have you sit there and you're just gonna die, because they also rule death. So pick your poison. You either start healing now or you get wrecked later. I'm just saying. The next card that came out was Mercury. I'm not surprised about this because this came out throughout the reading. Definitely a focus, as I already spoke on this, as far as like we need to address our minds and the quality of our thoughts, but also our subconscious messages, our dreams, what we're getting signs about. We need to address all of this. This needs to be like, or you need to sit with yourself and be like, okay, this is what's been coming up. If you need to consult somebody that reads like tarot as well, this would be a really great time to do so, because messages that you get from other people that can see things from an outside perspective could actually be very beneficial right now specifically. And Scorpio also rules like the occult, so not surprised. But this could be a really good time, especially during the Cancer moon, to do some like divination and get yourself together. Get yourself, you know, get your edges snatched by a reader who can like tell you like, hey, you know, this is the energy that you're working with. You really need to address this. Unless you just know already and then you just need to address it, then do that. The next card that came out was Leo. I'm not surprised about this because we know what's coming. Again, see this as sunlight. If this is darkness, this is sunlight. So we're gonna get pushed into the sunlight by the end of the week. So if we need to allow ourselves to be this, to kind of expand on this energy, to be in this place, to allow the sun to bring us light, to be good. So don't let your ego kind of make you hold on into things that you really are not good for you. This state of mind, you're already regretting it. We're already regretting the stuff. So don't let your ego move from a lower vibration. You need to let the light come in and really bring in some better intentions as far as growth wise for yourself. It's very important at this time. The next card that came out was Neptune. I'm also not surprised about this because I did talk about dreams and messages that we're getting. Don't like pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to anything that's coming up for you when you're like walking by people, stuff that you're picking up. All of this is very, very important. These two, very important as far as messages right now. Trust your intuition. Trust that thing. Trust what your gut is telling you. Trust what is coming up for you. Trust your experiences. Like, trust that, because right now we're being asked to do a lot, and so pretending like it doesn't exist is not going to help us. Next card is Aries. Also not surprised about this, because the reason why we're getting kind of put through this whole thing is because at the end of it we need to pick a direction. Aries demands to be driven in a direction. They need direction. And so if we're all over the place right now, we don't have anything in balance, Aries is gonna be like, hey, but I need direction. I need to be able to move somewhere. Like, okay, we're doing all of this, we're addressing all of this, but at the end goal, this is for you, this is for your path, this is for your goal. You need direction. So we need to heal this, we need to address this so we can have direction. And the last card that came out was Saturn, and I'm not surprised about this either, because Capricorn and Saturnian energy has been playing a big role this year. Ever since Saturn went into Capricorn. It's really important to do a lot of really, I feel like it addresses the root chakra probably the most, but it's important to kind of flow with that Capricorn energy and see where you need to not be stubborn with, where you need to replan, where you need to readdress, where you need to kind of like, hey, I need to get myself together because this is karmic debt right here. Saturn is karmic debt. There's something that we definitely missed out on that he's coming back to be like, hey, you know, I gave you the opportunity about this and you kind of threw it back at me, and so now you're gonna sit here and regret it. Karma. But also, what are you gonna do about it? Moving forward, what are you gonna do about it? Again, Aries is asking us for direction. What are you gonna do about it? So that's basically the message for this week. Definitely flow with the energy this week. Don't be too hard on yourselves, but do the work. It's important to do the work. It's important to do this work. So focus on healing yourselves mentally, emotionally. We've been doing this for a while, but it's a lot of layers. It rips in a lot of layers, and then we're left with everything else. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. I will see you guys next week. If you want to book a reading with me, my link to my website is down below. If you have any questions and stuff, you can email me. Yeah, I will see you guys next week for the next week's reading.